COVID-19 exists. The pandemic is real. I'm definitely not one to deny that. As well as anyone, believe there is a virus out there, and we have to do everything we can to be able to continue living with the virus, because this virus ain't going away. No matter what you think, where you think it came from, whatever, this virus ain't going away. We have to learn to live with it. And I have here a few. I've had some discussions about headlines and creating headlines before, and here's a few about one doctor in particular about vaccines and what he does and how headlines make a difference. And I want to first point you to the Dallas Morning News. Take a look at this headline. Texas doctor stole coronavirus vaccine to give to his family and friends, authorities say. And I'll just go on to read doctor. He's actually out of Harris County. A doctor was fired and faces a criminal charge after authorities say he stole coronavirus vaccine to benefit his family and friends, but his lawyer said Friday that he didn't give them doses. Hassan Kasim Gokal, 48, faces one misdemeanor count of theft by a public servant. Authorities say that on December 29th, Gokal stole a vial of the Moderna vaccine that had 9 doses in it while working at a county vaccination site in Humble, Texas, about 15 miles northeast of Houston. Gokal's lawyer, Paul Doyle, said Gokal was simply making sure that doses of the vaccine were used rather than allowed to expire. He did everything he could and used the best judgment he could to make sure these vaccines were not wasted. They're about to expire, he said. Doyle said Friday at a news conference on Zoom. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg said Gokal told a colleague about the incident. That person then reported him. Gokal was fired after an investigation by the health department, and the case was referred to prosecutors. He abused his position to place his friends and family in line in front of the people who had through the lawful process to be there. What he did was illegal, and he'll be held accountable under the law. So I can continue on. You can find this article if you want to continue reading further the article, but let's move on to the New York Times. It's the same story, same person doing the same thing with the vaccine. The vaccine had to be used. He used it. He was fired. Now, this headline claims that he's more of a victim. New York Times, let's see what they say. The Texas doctor had 6 hours. Now that a vial of COVID-19 vaccine had been opened on this late December night, he had to find 10 eligible people for its remaining doses before the precious medicine expired in 6 hours. Whoa, that's a little dramatic, actually, don't you think? Scrambling, the doctor made house calls and directed people to his house outside Houston. Some were acquaintances, others strangers. A bedbound non-agenarian, a woman in her 80s with dementia, a mother with a child who uses a ventilator. After midnight, and with just minutes before the vaccine becomes unusable, Dr. Hassan Gokal gave the last dose to his wife, who has a pulmonary disease that leaves her short of breath. For his actions, Dr. Gokul was fired from his government job and then charged with stealing 10 vaccine doses worth a total of $135, a shunworthy misdemeanor that sent his name and mugshot rocketing around the globe. It was my world coming down, Dr. Gokul said in a telephone interview on Friday. To have everything collapse on you, God, it was the lowest moment of my life. Same story, different, way different take. Let's go on. I've yet another Daily Beast. Here's doctor charged with stealing vaccines says he actually gave them to at-risk people. That's kind of in between the last two. But I want to go on to, since this is out of Harris County, I want to go to Cron.com. And they're the ones who are closest to this story. Charges dropped against Houston doctor accused of stealing vaccine. 4 days after charges were filed against Harris County doctor for allegedly stealing a vial of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine, the case was dismissed. The case, which was brought against Dr. Hassan Gokul on Thursday, was dismissed Monday because it lacked probable cause. Gokul's attorney told the Houston Chronicle that the doctor was supervising a vaccination site at Humble's Lindsay Lyons Park on December 29th, where there was a leftover vial of vaccine at the end of the day. Because the vial had been opened, it would go bad after 6 hours. So why was it open? What was he using it? That may be a question there. Why did he have it open? Did he have it open for this cause, or was it open because he was using it for patients and he saw an opportunity, or not an opportunity, but he saw a moment that these vaccinations that were opened, they'll go bad. But I digress. I continue on with the Houston Chronicle. Because the vial had been opened, it would go bad after 6 hours, so Gokul attempted to use it to vaccinate health workers and police on site. But all declined or already had been vaccinated. Gokul's attorney says the doctor called a supervisor who didn't know of any available patients, so Gokul administered doses to eligible patients off-site and gave the final dose to his wife. There's confirmation, actually, in two different pieces. Dose to his wife shortly before the vaccine would expire. Gokul followed protocol by entering the recipients into the state's database, but he was fired January 8th for violating policy by taking the vial away from the vaccination site. Gokul's attorney said the doctor plans to sue for wrongful termination. So, maybe not the first two, but this actually confirms the New York Post, not New York Post, the New York Times. It confirms there because they both mention he had given it to his wife when he discovered that others were either already vaccinated or they had declined the vaccine. So he had a vaccine that was about to expire. I feel, my opinion, he was doing the right thing. He was doing a good deed. Maybe it cost him his job. Maybe it cost him a little career, but he was doing more of a good deed for something. But, like, the whole thing about this same story, Dallas News, the doctor stole a vaccine. Then you go to the New York Times and Cron.com, which is the local newspaper, the news story. They're both claiming he's the victim. The vaccine had to be used. He used it. He was fired. Who do you really believe? a competing, or not competing, but a city that is 4 hours away from Houston, that, or the New York Times, and both them and Chron.com. Who do you believe? Like, these are two different headlines, two different spins on the story. One claiming he did wrong, one claiming he's the victim and he was doing right. Who do you believe with these two types of headlines? I was able to point out some confirmation with the two, but that's what's going on in this. And this is not even the craziest stuff happening, but that's what's going on with all these news websites, news organizations. They're putting their own spins on it, and same story, but they're putting it out there in a very different way. But if you like what I'm doing here with this video, you need to check out what I actually do. I'm reaching out to all creators, all storytellers, all filmmakers on my podcast, Keeping It Real Podcast. You can check the link on the top link about me a little bit, what I do, some stuff I do. I helping people live in a digital world, how to do digital tasks and other sorts on YouTube. And then my podcast links are on the last part of this link tree. You can go to linktr.com or you Google search Linktree Keeping It Real Podcast, and you'll come up with this link, or the Real Sweet Tea on Instagram, and you can get this link as well. Check this out. If you like what I do at all, check all these episodes out and see what you like. Give me a comment on Apple Podcast. Give me a review. What can I do better? What can I be doing better? And I will leave it at that. I will end this here. Probably have something else for you in a little bit, but I will see you in the next clip.